tonight, and before we get started, I'd just like for you to say hello to Leah Jackson, who is the owner and proprietor of Angst Gallery and Niche Wine and Art Bar next door.
So I keep tweaking the happy hour. I'm hoping you like this one even better. We added on our famous niche sandwich. So there's a couple of people that had that tonight.
Yeah.
As always, if you have feedback, let me know. I try to put something non-alcoholic on there. And also, just a reminder: if you do have wine, you can't go out this door. And even if you're sitting outside next door, you can't go between. You have to go around. All right?
But that's the long way.
That's what you're going to have to do. Otherwise, I will be coming after you. I think that's about it, because you probably have more announcements.
Yeah, and thanks to Leah for having us and for doing this Ghost Town special every time. And this is as good a time as any to acknowledge and say thank you to Mel Sanders, who's here. Could I ask you to just stand for just a minute? If you're here for the first time, Mel Sanders hosted us at Cover to Cover Books for 8 years, and unfortunately the bookstore had to close, but this is good news for Mel because she's a fiction writer and she has a lot of time to work on her fiction right now.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yes. But welcome and thank you for staying open late for us for 8 years and for showing real support to the poetry community. That means everything to us. So we have a special guest coming later in the month, David Meltzer, and his wife Julie Rogers will be here for 2 events. And because we're trying to get people interested and excited in those 2 events, I'm going to read something from David to start. The first of the 2 events will be a free reading. That's Thursday, April 23rd. And then on Saturday, the 25th, I believe that's Saturday, right? Saturday the 25th, David will be giving a talk based on his book, which is called Two-Way Mirror, A Poetry Notebook. That book was released in 1977 and is being re-released this year by City Lights in a new edition. So they are touring around the country with this book, New York, San Francisco, and places in between, and they are also stopping in Vancouver, Washington. So I wanted to read you a little bit from his book to hopefully get you interested in maybe coming and seeing David later. This is what the book looks like, and when I looked on the City Lights website, at least for now, this is what they have there. So it looks like they haven't decided to go with a different cover. I guess they thought that this cover was cool enough, and I think it's pretty cool. But I guess we'll see when he gets here with all the books. And I'm just going to read the first couple of things that he has in here in part 1 of the book. Yes, that's what I wanted. I saw a fish pond all on fire. I saw a house bow to a squire. I saw a parson 12 feet high. I saw a cottage near the sky. I saw a balloon made of lead. I saw a coffin drop down dead. I saw 2 sparrows run a race. I saw 2 horses making lace. I saw a girl just like a cat. I saw a kitten wear a hat. I saw a man who saw these 2 and said, though strange, they all were true. The poet asks his 7-year-old daughter, what is a poem? Why is it different than just talking? She answers, I don't know. No, I can figure it out. It's shorter. It's shorter and it rhymes. It makes more sense than a book. It's sweeter. It's nice. The poem happens on a moment-to-moment basis. 1 minute it is all there, clear as a bell, resounding. The next moment, the magic leaves the words, and what is on the page becomes nothing more than dull black marks as mediocre as yesterday's newspaper. But more importantly, is the poem on the page the poem within you? Poetry is speech that attempts to be song. It's a way of rising above speech to create an alternative language whose parts are closer to music, whose parts are closer to the heart, whose parts close in on the mind, whose parts converge and become one. Poetry is musical speech. Poetry's a magical act. David Meltzer. So David Meltzer is a little bit younger than the Beat generation, but still gets sort of categorized along with them. I guess he's probably the youngest person that would get that label on him. And he wrote what I thought was the best book on the Beats called Beat Thing, which is basically a history of the Beats and their relationship to Judaism, and all in verse. So a book-length poem about the Beats. So if you're interested in that, in those writers in that time period, I would say that's one of the better books that you could look at. And we're very excited to have him here again. It's actually not the first time that he's been to Vancouver. We brought him here in 2008, but we're very excited to have him back here with us once again. And let's see, anything? Oh, I did forget to mention that there are 2 bathrooms. There's one in the bar, and there's one right behind us, right behind the tiki bar. There's also a lot of information on that tiki bar, and that is also where our featured readers' books will be later on. Just be aware that right next to the bathroom back there is a stairwell that's a little bit treacherous, so just be aware that that stairwell goes down to the basement, and be careful. Okay, so we're very fortunate that for some time now we've had an official videographer, someone who decided on her own that she wanted to help us document Ghost Town Poetry Open Mic, and because that's what she'll be doing for the remainder of the evening, we allow her to do her thing first so she can spend the rest of the time making sure that all of you look great on the YouTube. So please welcome once again Tiffany Burbishman.
Thank you. This first poem tonight is actually by Nathan Tompkins. He couldn't be here tonight, so this is one that he wrote and I wanted to share. It's called Watch the Moon. We'd watch the moon together, you and I, miles away but close by text. The moon showed us different bodies, hidden beneath the same crescent or full shape. I always saw a woman, you, a man. We recognized in that fat sunlit face the smile, the eyes, the lips of a lover yet to wake beside us. We are farther now than text, phone call or email could ever reach, hidden behind walls built, bricked, mortared by scarred words exchanged. Yet I still see her in the sky, yet still I kiss celestial lips. Good night, good morning, and think of you. And this year, I'm not writing as much as I did last year. I'm not writing a poem a day, so I'm writing a poem a week based on a picture. So this one is called, this was for week 9, Jazz Club in Harlem. Was it the excitement of being in Harlem that made it that much better? Was it the journey on subways, meet my sister on the platform, trudge through snow and ice to get there? We arrived late, just as they were getting ready to play. Paper bag in my hand that holds the whiskey. I stand for most of the show, older brother to my right, my baby brother and his love to the left. I can't even begin to describe how I felt in that moment. It was surreal to be in Harlem, my brothers and my sister there drinking and swinging to the music. The drummer smooth and soft all at the same time, the bass player plucking, sliding the bow across those strings, keeping the rhythm of the room. The piano player stroking those ivory keys. He sits in the back, joy plastered upon his Italian face. Patience is the front man with his brass saxophone. He is airy and light, plays like it's part of his breath. He tells the stories, takes us on the A train to Harlem. I could live in this picture of this little basement, my family, whiskey, and jazz breathing life into all of us, protecting us from the harshness of reality. Thank you. And one thing I want to mention, I will be the featured reader at Paper Tiger next Wednesday at 7 o'clock, so I would love everybody's support. So thank you very much.
Yes, that event at Paper Tiger, which happens every month on the third Wednesday, is really fun, and there's also an open mic, so come down and share some poems and support Tiffany and Joyce Colson, the host of that event. And next we're going to hear from Bryce. Come on up, Bryce.
Short.
Power to the short people.
Power.
That's what I say, we're gonna fix that for you. Try that out.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I'll be reading one poem, my first poem.
Yay.
Thanks. A helping hand. Whenever I look into a crying eye or a weeping smile turned upside down, I feel hopeless inside, wanting to make them feel nothing but joy. Because I feel everyone has the right to be happy. It shouldn't be a crime that I want to put everyone in front of me, nor is it a curse. More or less, it's a gift in my eye. So then I don't have to have the feeling of selfishness every time I walk past someone pouring their eyes out into their hands and shrug it off and go off with my day. Instead, I feel their pain. Somehow I know what they're going through. I just want to help. I always want to help. But not everyone wants to be helped. And I just think it's just a matter of time. I think about this every day. I come home with their pain and put it into my writing, paintings, and music, expressing it the best way I can so then they can be heard. I always want to give a helping hand. Most hold on, some let go. Thank you.
So we've always been all ages and uncensored from the beginning, and just want to let people know, because we always do have some new people. If you know families, if you know people with children, even small children who want to participate, please welcome them to come down. And one of the things that we will do if someone does have a small child and doesn't think they're going to make it through our very long event is we can switch the order of things around a little bit and let you read a little bit sooner, if that's the issue. We want everybody in the community to have access to this event. Next we're going to hear from Roxanne.
Woo!
Not short. Oh. That'll be true. Let's see.
Thank you. That's good. Thank you. Okay, I have two poems for you this evening. One because I read it to my wife and she had a pretty intense reaction to it, so I thought, oh, I better add a light one to it too. Here's one that I've been working on, and it came from a prompt from one of my classes with Chris on the value of poetry. It's called "It Keeps Me Here." It keeps me here, grounded in this world, tethered to humanity. It pulls me from the well deep within, leeching off emotion before it can spill over to drown the flame. It catches my breath and keeps me breathing as I laugh out loud and cry deep welling sobs. It sings to me in sweet melodies and discords, whispering other people's truths where I find my own hidden. It gives me a big voice, hearing my story unfold one small word at a time. It makes me think more precisely, to say what is in my heart without hurting another's. It heals my contempt for my failings, bleeding off some of the pain of living. It takes off my sunglasses and makes me stare, blinking in bright light, pulling me forward when I'd rather stumble and fall to the ground. It wakes me when I'm sleeping, staring through years of blank walls and dirty windows. This poetic license I've been issued keeps me dreaming among the living.
Very nice.
From last week. And this one, a bit more playful. This was on a prompt about the relationship to food. And I tentatively called it Playing with My Food at Dinner. The taste of you still lingers on my tongue and in my nostrils, like the lingering scent of sex on skin the morning after an amorous night. I want to feel you again, that exquisite pleasure, of deep, smooth red wine rolling across my tongue, of salt and garlic and onions, caramelized to a sweet finish with cream. I want to tear off bits of crusty bread and dip it into the rich yolk of decadency. I want another bite of you.
Thank you. Well, I happen to know our next reader is a little bit closer to my height, so I feel confident that if I lower this, I won't waste too much time with the microphone. Our next reader has been coming since the very beginning and is the reason why I decided to make all ages and uncensored a slogan and not just a policy, because on the very first night her children's delicate sensibilities were possibly, violated, and it turned out that the person that was supposedly violating them was a good friend of the family, and she didn't give a shit. So I figured we were all meant to be together. And her son and my son turned out to be good friends. Here is Lori Loringer. Welcome back.
See, I really am short. There we go. Is that better?
I didn't bring it down.
Yes, you are. I'm shorter than the rest.
I always see her as taller, much taller.
That's good. Thank you.
Laura's here.
Hey.
Russ is going to be here.
All right. Howdy. So, first time I've been here since we switched locations. So I'm happy to be here. This I just wrote today, and it came out in 2 parts. So even though it's short, it all fits on 1 page. It's 2 parts. So here goes. It's called "Truth Will Set You Free." The tunnel is dark, dark with old terror, lightless with desperation. Survival is everything here. Stranglingly close, the warped walls keep out everything but the fear and the endless drive to live. Even in a world of suffering, one holds existence dear. You've stopped crying out for help, but still scream curses at unseen foes. The end becomes near. There is light within reach. It is blinding after all this darkness. You draw back, trying to adjust. Tunnel's end is a mirror. Part 2. The face staring back is your father. He looks afraid. You are astonished to see his fear. Then you realize it is you. That image reveals everything. With your reflection, new realities appear. Now you know what is true. His fear built your anger. Everything dawns clear. You finally see the world anew. You shatter the glass, scattering prismatic shards. Stepping into the light, you are free. And as the lady before me, I brought this one because that was very dark compared to most of what I do. So this one's called "I Don't Need No Damn Umbrella." Amniotic fluid freely falling from the sky, warm and nourishing, more welcoming than the womb that mourned my intrusion, the arms that never sought to hold a baby. Under Pacific Northwest sprinkles, I am comforted, cleansed. I seek no shelter, reject umbrellas. I am nurtured, stimulated to growth, beneath these little waterfalls of beautiful, life-giving rain.
Thank you, Lori. Hi, everybody. I'm Toni Partington, and I co-host this merriment with Mr. Luna. And it's great to see all of you this evening. I think we're going to have a lot of fun. I wanted to start off by reading something from this book. Claudia Rankine was nominated for the National Book Award finalist for this book, Citizen: An American Lyric. And I first heard about her in an interview on NPR, and I was just taken with what she had to say, and I was really blown away. And she read a few pieces, and there was one piece that she read that really struck a chord in me. And so it's fairly short, and I wanted to bring it and share it with you tonight, particularly on the heels of so much that's been happening in our cities and towns across the country. And just a few days ago, when there was an election in Ferguson, it was the first time that there's diversity now on that city council, and I was really struck by that. I thought, wow, considering all that community has been through, and considering all the upheaval, and the loss, and the grief, and the anger, and the sadness, that there's something to hang on to, perhaps, now in Ferguson. You and your partner go to see the film, The House We Live In. You ask a friend to pick up your child from school. On your way home, your phone rings. Your neighbor tells you he is standing at his window watching a menacing black guy casing both your homes. The guy is walking back and forth, talking to himself, and seems disturbed. You tell your neighbor that your friend, whom he has met, is babysitting. He says, no, it's not him. He's met your friend, and this isn't that nice young man. Anyway, he wants you to know he's called the police. Your partner calls your friend and asks him if there's a guy walking back and forth in front of your home. Your friend says that if anyone were outside, he would see him because he is standing outside. You hear the sirens through the speakerphone. Your friend is speaking to your neighbor when you arrive home. The 4 police cars are gone. Your neighbor has apologized to your friend and is now apologizing to you. Feeling somewhat responsible for the actions of your neighbor, you clumsily tell your friend that the next time he wants to talk on the phone, he should just go in the backyard. He looks at you a long minute before saying he can speak on the phone wherever he wants. Yes, of course, you say. Yes, of course. And we are going to hear now from the host of the Paper Tiger Open Mic, Joyce Colson. Joyce, come on.
Oh, thank you, Joyce.
It comes from posting it.
I think we need to group everybody together short.
I'm going to share 4 tonight. The first one is a political diatribe, kind of in the same way that was just shared. And the next 2 are spiritual, and the last one is a short, how should I put it, procreational observation from my pen name, alter ego, Fiona Fantasia. First one is called WTF. What in the fracking hell are you doing? Who said you could poison the earth? Who told you it was okay to change the weather? Who suggested compassion was the devil's tool? Who even hinted that the trickle-down theory works? Who offered the concept of 1% is better than 99%? What in the fracking hell are you doing? Stop trying to be insane and imprisoning those who really are. Stop injecting scientific madness into our food. Stop counting the money you stole from us. Stop being a gloater of holier than thou. Stop insulting all the minorities. You are the 1%. What in the fracking hell are you doing? If you want karma to sink your wealth, keep threading the eye of the needle with your camels. Heaven is for the attitude of altruism. Hell is for the fracking of humanity's dignity. What in the fracking hell are you doing? And this one's a little more spiritual, called The Bell Rings for Today. What rings the bell of the bat in the belfry? What remains behind like lurking deja vu? What splashes ashore like a lonely Godzilla? Is it the impossible windmill dream? Is it the enigmatic conclusion of faith? Is it the waters drowning themselves? What rings your bell? What reeks of mystery memory? What monster rears its ugly head? Is it a dream of better days? Is it believing that day is today? Is it going with the water's flow that reminds us we belong as one? This is the question of the ages. Why wait until tomorrow when today is the price? And this is called What a Miracle Means. Realize what miracle means. It stands for synchronized surprise. It stands for unexpected awe. It stands for sudden whimsical benefit. It stands for childish wishes materialized. It stands for astounding coincidence. Yes, realize what miracle means. It means the ship has arrived and your dreams are debarking. And now a little 5-line poem from Fiona Fantasia. All my sensual poetry is written by her, my alter ego. It's called The Price of Pleasure. Poignancy isn't 9 months long. It takes only an instant to recognize drama. Pregnancy is 9 months long. It takes only one birth for drama. Poignant pregnancy is how fireworks start.
Next, we're going to hear from Linda Evans. Come on up, Linda.
That's fine. I'm going to speak louder anyway. You know, for a long time I've been looking at when the candles burning, and for a long time I was thinking, what would the candle say? Talking to you. And why is the candle burning? Why am I burning? So, a candle. I was born a candle for the spirit of the flame. For my short life, the match sacrificed everything. I flickered with dance, giving the wisdom of light. My tapered flame sings to the cold darkness. My slender glow of colors greet the shadows, and dance the swaying light of happy dancing. The short time I live, I give you light. I light the dark rooms for you to see. I light the room for romantic moods. I light the bonfires to keep you warm. I light the joys of lapping shadows. A breeze whispers my flame into a dance of joy. The short time I live, I chased away darkness. The short time I lived, I offered sanctuary of seeing. The short time I lived, my inner light is yours. We are human candles lighting our world, chasing away the fear of our own darkness. The short time we live, love is our dancing light. The eternal time of a candle and our spirit dances together. The concept of time for a candle is a blink of a flame. The concept of time for a human is a blink of an eye. The concept of time for a human candle is eternal. The eternal light of the universe shines through the human candle. We learn to dance this light in the shadows of existence.
Thank you, Linda. Next we have Maggie O'Meara. Come on up.
After long this. I know that
It's not
already.
my fault I'm a hobbit,
Okay.
but I do have the berry toast to prove it.
You do? I'm not sure I want to know that.
TMI?
Yeah.
Or TMFI?
Yes.
What was saying?
The first one I'm going to share, I went to the Chinese gardens and I listened to Toni, and it's been a long time since I'd been there, and there was a poem that was inspired by just being there in the garden and watching the fish. Waters of tranquility. Beneath the pavilion they glide in silent, graceful, measured pace. Golden, white, black, and silver, the old men in this mystic lake, slowly, regally, with thoughtful purpose, tracing the roads of their destiny beneath these moonlit waters. One stops, pauses, nibbles the fallen lotus blossom as it drifts dreamily, ethereally, across the shimmering waves. And I'm also going to share behind the fan. It's one that I have read in the past, but it's one that Toni likes, so I'm sharing it for her. Behind the fan. Holding the brush, she is the canvas. Each sweep of her slender hands build the fantasy of her. Goddess of the floating world, she is the creator who is the created, the sculptor and the clay, composer and symphony. Amid endless cascades of pure white petals, she dances in silken splendor, exquisite precision controlled, wild seductive abandon. In this blizzard of loveliness, my soul is set aflame. Each movement compels, each gesture of graceful limbs lead me from reality. Lost in the wonder of her, caught in those eyes, one smile flashed her conquest. I am hers forever.
Thank you, Meg. Next, we're going to hear from Alex, and is it Vic? Vic?
It's Vicky. But
Say it again, I'm sorry, I want to get it.
Vigu?
Vigu, sorry.
No, don't worry about it. I stopped correcting people.
Alex Vigu. I'm going to implant that right there, and I have to raise up the microphone.
Yep.
That's for sure. Not unless I get you a chair, you know.
I mean, I'm sitting, but
Just a little closer to you so I can get just about right for you. Wow.
yeah.
Way up there.
Is Steve reading next?
Is that about right?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, great. Who follows this yet?
Steve should go next.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I decided to stop correcting people on my last name because no one I've met first interaction
Like,
I've gotten
what did
right.
I said,
Veek is what you said?
well, V-I-G-U-E.
G-U-E. Yeah. I've heard that in French it's supposed to be a little fancier than Vigu, but you know, we moved here and it got bastardized, right?
Is there a meaning? What's the?
Oh, I have
you
no
know,
idea.
you don't
I
know?
have no idea now.
Oh, it's a really interesting name, and I was like, okay, now I know I'm going to blow it on that. So,
I know there's like 5 letters, but it confuses everybody.
Well, thanks for setting me straight.
Yeah,
I
no
appreciate it.
problem. So today I'm going to be reading 3 prose poems. All are very different. The first one is sort of from a collection of, I don't know, my attempts to write Southern Gothic. So this one is called, and it's also sort of like Southern Gothic feminist a little bit too. So the first one's called Passé. One man is dressed as his mother. Another is wearing a giant costume moon. There's one playing basketball and one carved into the side of a mountain and one sitting on a throne. Their images adorn Le Musée d'Histoire. Mottled wooden Frames bearing portraits of the past sit on the walls, leaning slightly forward as if to look down at the museum's patrons. Were men really allowed to be doctors back then? One little girl asks. Could they vote and sing and even raise babies? The curator looks at the little girl and the rest of the class of little girls touring the museum and says, not particularly well. The second one is called Compoundment. Copper and petal eve sky, dawn of nighttime thick, half-mowed grass licking at lawn chairs, quiet shouts and whistle trees, bent and crown topiary dream, faces pale and wet mop up unspoken qualms, zephyr, teal cold breeze, breathes, shivers into goosebump music, drifting from the barn and house lyrics of begone and bygone, liquor of ending. The end slips from our mouths and arms, moth stripped of scales and dust, wobbles soundlessly into the dusk. And this last one is arguably one of my silliest poems. And it's called The God of Toilet Paper. Fat-mouthed face, eating and eating trees. Tongue like orb weaver, separating fibers, tangling them into soft, pliable sheets. Second mouth just below, mimicking the first. Two-ply mastication. 7 arms come out of 7 socketed shoulders, 6 for wrapping the mouth silk around cardboard tubes, provided by the god of cardboard tubes. The 7th arm for wiping its own ass. The little non-gods scurry and catch the unfinished toilet paper rolls as they fall with butterfly nets. The cross sticks and old-fashioned firefighter trampolines. The non-gods take everything they catch. They put the rolls into big plastic packages and sell them at superstores. The god of toilet paper never stops chewing. Its arms never grow tired. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to have one more reader on the open mic before our featured reader this evening. So, Matt, would you like to come on up? Check that out.
So I've got 2.
Absolutely right. Perfect.
In 2012, I drove to Mongolia from London, and I'm working on a book on how I now see my country after that and what happened. And these are 2 from that I'm working on. This is called Night Pooping on the Outskirts of the Gobi Desert. Canned ram has set a fuse. I can no longer hide from the high desert cold. Devoid of distraction, I am a man, squatting over a hole in an emptiness, required to see the absurdity of infinity contained in the sky, the crippling beauty of the before, during, after of countless explosions at once. I am too small not to be enormous. I have trained my ankles and knees to function outside of modernity, and finally have found a position capable of cleaning the core of me. Without waste, I am connected to something too big to be practical. Thank you. And on my way back to New York, I tried to work in the oil fields in Dickinson, North Dakota, and these were my cohabitants, and I kind of love them. My name is Camaro Pregnant. I get hot babes pregnant in New Mexico, in the back of an El Camino. I chose the name Camaro for the musicality. I keep the callus of empire in my palms. I was in Nam when you were in Mom. Betrayed by spotted owls and Jane Fonda, I have no time for caution. The secretariat of the proletariat, I am strong and fast. If I break my leg, they will shoot me. A gas station gourmet, I make my Rice Krispie treats with fruity pebbles. delicately inserting synthetic cheese into hot dogs. All rivers, roofs, and fields are my Riviera. I wash my woman's hair with beer that I leave in the sun. The heat and bubbles tingle her scalp. I teach my children how to make a manufactured home a trailer or a spa, so they never learn how to make a prison ass with a latex glove. I am a goddamn waterslide renegade, full of discount fireworks. I live in the moment, but I am the opposite of Buddhism. It ain't easy being greasy, kid.